you go, baby.
Good job.
All right. Welcome to step 2. Welcome to step 2 of how to have an extraordinary marriage. So this, we talked about nutrition.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about what you put into your body. We talked about how important it is that you put the right things in. But we also talked about how important it is that you get the wrong stuff
Right. Eliminate
out.
the junk.
Eliminate the junk.
Mm-hmm.
In this step, we want to talk to you about your core. Step 2 to a healthy, extraordinary marriage is strengthening your relational core. And what do we mean when we talk about your core? Your core is this central structure of your body. It's your abdomen, it's your low back, it's basically from your hip, it's basically your trunk. All of these muscles, this whole system in here. Your core muscles are the base of support for your entire body. So these muscles, this whole muscle system is what gives you balance.
Mm-hmm.
So like even on your balance ball,
Yeah.
you're using these different muscles
Yeah.
to balance your body.
Right.
Right? Your core is what keeps you upright. I mean, just think about it. If you didn't have this muscle system here,
Mm-hmm.
and you just kind of
flop over.
You flop
Yeah.
over. So your core system keeps you upright. But your core, it's actually, these muscles are used in virtually every activity you do.
Mm-hmm.
So if you stop and think about how important our core is, and just going for a walk, you get up, you go to the kitchen, it's everything we do, all the activities we do, not just strenuous activities and not just bending and picking something up, but virtually every activity
every
we do.
Every movement is all of our limbs are coming out of our core.
Right. So these are critical. Your core muscles, a strong core is critical to your physical health and your quality of life. So stop and think about that. It's not just about your physical health, it's also about the quality of your life. So if you have a weak core, it affects the quality of your life in general.
Right.
So your core is absolutely critical. Now, we want to parallel that to your relationship. You have a relational core. And in your relational core is the foundation of your marriage. It's like the same thing with your health. It gives you balance. It gives you the stuff that you need to function. Your relational core is about friendship. What do we mean when we talk about, why would we say friendship is kind of that core?
Because it's the basis, it's the foundation. So of your relationship, a good relationship is based on mutual things, mutual common things, and that's what friendship is about.
So it actually, even if you go back to your dating time, I mean, it kind of started as friends. I mean, you begin as friends, you get to know each other.
We did. Not everybody does that.
That's true.
Some people kind of skip over the
skip over the friendship
and go straight to bed usually. Straight to marriage, whatever, or more serious.
Friendship, though, I think there's this. We've oftentimes separated our friends, and our spouse,
right?
Our friendships, and we kind of make those shallow. It's not that they're shallow in that, but I mean they're not as like, oh, you're my spouse. That's just a friend. That friendship is not just a friend. I mean, the friendships are important and friendships are critical.
That may be a man way of looking at that, because I have thought of friendships as being even at times deeper and closer than spouse relationship.
Was that because we didn't have friendship?
Yeah, that's because it was missing from our relationship.
Right. And I think that's the key. That's what we're talking about. That at the core of your relationship, if you don't have friendship, if you don't have that connectedness, that's what your core does. It keeps you connected in your relationship. You're connected, and it's your connectedness. If you don't have that connectedness in your relationship, you're falling apart.
Right. Well, I think it's kind of one of those basic human need kind of things for friendship. Relationship is a basic human need, but I think that an element of that, it's not just about being married, having a spouse. Not everyone is, but I think that friendship meets a real basic need for relationship. So if it's missing from your marriage, then you look for it other places.
Right. Because I think we need friendship. That's why it's core to your relationship.
Yep.
It's not just this core. It affects our friendship, and our core and our relationship affects every aspect of the relationship.
Yeah.
Our connectedness.
Exactly. Our intimacy.
This concept of strengthening your core, the foundation of who you are as a couple, is critical to every aspect of your relationship. Yeah, you like our intimacy, and not just sexual intimacy, just this intimate connection.
Right.
It affects the sexual intimacy, but it also it affects so many aspects, and it's this it's this connectedness.
Right.
A strong relational core is critical to your relational health, and the same as with your physical and the quality of your marriage. The quality. It's like, I don't want to just be married. I don't want to just have an okay marriage.
Right.
I want to have an extraordinary marriage, and that's a high quality marriage.
Right.
And that comes out of our connectedness. I think there's some people who would say that's we have chemistry, or it's like, yeah, you're my one because there's something mystical about this connection. And I don't think it's that. I don't think it's like you find that perfect person that there's only a limited few out there, and it's like, did you find the right one?
Right.
I think there's this connection that's built, this relational core connection that's built with each other
over time,
which is
what we're talking about.
Friendship.
Yeah.
Kind of like friendship.
Right.
So, action steps. How do you build and how do you strengthen your core? The assignment really is to intentionally spend time focusing on developing and strengthening your friendship and your core connectedness.
Right.
So that's the action step. What does that look like? A strong relational core brings balance and stability to your marriage. So if you're going to have balance and stability, and you're going to have a strong core, it requires some things of us. This about friendship. Happy is the man who finds a true friend, and far happier is he who finds the true friend in his wife.
Aww.
Hey, friend.
Hey.
I think that's so true, though. You know, we find joy and happiness in our friendships. There's something about a friend that puts a smile on your face. Why is it that our spouse can't be our best friend?
He can. He is.
So how do you do that? Here's some do's.
Do learn to laugh together. That is so important. You can be so focused on life and all the stuff of life that you fail to have fun and fail to laugh together. And we're not talking about laughing at one another. We're talking about laughing with one another. So cultivate laughter and joy. And, if you have to watch a comedy movie or watch I Love Lucy, do a couple of those, and man, something to spur that laughter. And maybe you've been together a long time and you're thinking, there's really nothing funny, there's nothing to laugh about, but you can find
our last
it.
Session though on nutrition. If we don't have anything to laugh about, we're probably missing the nutritious food that we should be putting in our brain. The relational stuff that, I mean, go back. One of the things that I bet money connected people in their beginning days, I know it did us, is we had fun together. We laughed together. We
think back to
together.
your dating days. I mean, you've married each other for reasons, chances are one of those was that you enjoyed being together and you laughed.
Right. The second do is to let your spouse get to know you at a deeper level. Know and be known. This is all about getting past the surface,
Right.
and really connecting with each other at a deeper level, which requires vulnerability. It requires a different level of communication.
Right.
We can't just talk about the Broncos, although the Broncos are fun to talk about. Just a little bit of shameless advertising
Promotion.
here. Promotion. Go Broncos, maybe this year, I don't know. But that's surface level.
Yeah.
I've never thought I would say that the Broncos were surface level, but really that's surface level.
Yeah. Yeah.
But deeper is, who are you? What are your dreams? What are your fears? What lights you up? What saddens you even about our world?
Right.
Who is your spouse at a deeper level? When you start hitting those levels and you start to connect at those levels, there's this core
It's a bond. Yeah.
and connectedness.
Yeah.
But you have to go deeper.
Right. Well, and if you're going to be doing that, if you're going to be sharing on a deeper level, I have to be able to trust you.
Right.
So that's why it's so important. It's because it's multi-layered. It's not simple surface stuff. It's complicated. It's complex. So I have to be able to trust you and know that if I make myself vulnerable and I'm willing to share something with you, that you're going to handle that correctly as my friend.
Right.
I think that's where the friend part works, because there are certain things that friends do. One of those is keeps confidences.
Right.
Another one is encourages. Another one is listens. How many times you hear people talk about, my wife never listens to me, or my husband never listens to me, and they go find a listening ear somewhere else.
Exactly.
And that's a oftentimes slippery slope to bad things happening. But when you can have that friendship with your spouse, it's so amazing. It's so special. But I think that's a big part of that.
Yeah. So we'd encourage you to let your spouse get to know you at a deeper level. That's a core relationship.
Spend time having fun together. Again, maybe that's watching a comedy, but you can play a game. You can go do something fun. Go bike ride, go run, go walk. Something
Here's the
that's
question.
outside of your normal stuff.
And I think it goes back to the last one of getting to know each other. Do you even know what is fun for your spouse?
Yeah.
What would your spouse love to do? Now, one of the things I know about Rob is that in this last year, she's really started to love outdoor hiking, walking, running, being out and about, and doing those kinds of things. Go for a hike together. It'd be fun.
Yeah. Go kayaking.
Go kayaking together.
That's fun.
Yeah, baby. I'm with you there. Let's go do something fun together. Isn't that what you did when you dated?
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt. I was just going to say that it is so important to know. And if you don't know what your spouse's fun things to do are, then ask, have the conversation, because I'm telling you, it would not be fun to always just be doing what one of you thinks is fun if you don't agree.
Right.
Do you know that you like the same things, that you want to do the same things? If not, have a conversation. And then it could just be like a give and take, he's much more adventurous than I am. So he would love to go whitewater rafting, but I would prefer to just be kayaking on a lake.
But see, I love that too. But remember when we used to cross country ski?
Mm-hmm,
The beautiful part about cross country skiing is we would just be out. It would be peaceful, and it'd be all about she's just loving the glide. This is peaceful. This is nice. I see a little hill over here, and I'm like, I'll be right back. And I go over and I step up to the top and then go swoosh down the hill, and I got my little adrenaline in. It was fun, but we did it together.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like, oh, he wants to go downhill skiing and I want to go. We found ways to
make it work.
Bless each other's
preferences. Really. Yeah.
Preferences.
Yeah.
Do this. If you don't know, Rama just said, if you don't know what your spouse's likes are, ask. Avoid this. Well, you should know. We've been married for 34 freaking years. Come on. If you have to ask, oh, then forget it. He's asking.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you want to know? Maybe we could go. Tell him. Just tell him, and then watch the thing click.
Mm-hmm.
Watch it click.
Yep.
Spend time having fun together. Dating shouldn't end when you get married.
Right.
A core connection is spend time dating each other. Go back and go to those places that you used to go to. Find new creative ways to date. Dating shouldn't end when you get married. It's a core connected activity. Now, I will tell you, if all you ever do is go to dinner and a movie, at least in dinner, talk.
Yes.
Because a movie is all about what's happening up there, not happening right here. We like movies. Nothing wrong with going to a movie, but it's not going to take you to a deeper connected level if that's all you do.
Right.
So find some ways to date where you're engaging one another, where the date is participation and active.
Interaction.
And that doesn't mean active like we got to go run. Active.
Yeah.
I mean it's interactive.
Right.
Right? So those are some do's. A strong relational core brings balance and stability to your marriage.
Right.
But there's also some don'ts. Here's some things that we would highly recommend you don't do. Go ahead.
Don't give your best to your best friend.
Yeah. Unless your spouse is your best friend.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So I've had friends in the past that kind of got my best, like something would happen, whether it was good or bad. They were my go-to person because he was busy. He was working.
And we were drifting
and
apart.
we were disconnected at the time. So my best friend got all that first information, the firsts of everything. When I had something to share, I shared it with my friend. Then when I got home or when he got home, I didn't need to share it again because I'd already shared it.
Yeah.
And personally, I'm not the kind of person that has to share over and over and over again. I like to share it and be done.
Yeah.
But
a lot of people do that. A lot of people have their go-to person, and it's not their spouse. So that what happens is when their spouse, now this is all business. That was my friend. That was my fun. That was my, and now this is all business.
Yeah.
Which is another don't, but we'll get there in a second. So don't live on the surface. We kind of talked about that in the do's. Go deeper with each other. Don't don't stay surface. If you stay surface, I can tell you, you will never have an extraordinary marriage.
Right.
Extraordinary marriages aren't surface marriages. Extraordinary marriages, extraordinary relationships are relationships that go below the surface, that dig deeper in each other's lives.
Well, if you are just stuck on the surface, then that's really like, you do that with an acquaintance.
Yeah.
You do that with a stranger.
Cashier
even.
at the grocery store.
Right. So your marriage relationship really needs to be on a whole different level than other relationships.
Yeah.
Don't be so agenda focused that you have no fun together. What we mean by that is that, you can get so caught up in life, in work, in kids, in family life, in paying the mortgage, in, maybe you're remodeling your house. It can just be so much about all the things and the schedule that you forget to just relax and have fun together.
All important things.
Yeah.
Take care of those, your bills. Take care of the stuff, but don't forget to have fun. It's not that we're saying these aren't important.
Right.
But I think there's a lot
it's about finding a balance.
A lot of couples, their friend is for fun.
Yeah.
And this is all the work of relationship.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why friendship in your marriage is so important.
We even use that term, about our marriages. We say that relationships take work.
Yeah.
Well, while that's true, it doesn't, it kind of has a negative connotation in a way, because we think of it as, like drudgery kind of work, But some people enjoy their work. We enjoy our work.
And we did a video not too long ago on what if you approached your relational work like you do your hobby.
Yeah.
It takes work to build your golf game, and sometimes it's hard. But people go out for hours
But
and
it's
hours.
fun.
But it's
Yeah.
different because it's
Yeah.
about your hobby instead of this drudgery
Yeah.
job.
Yeah.
And your relationship, if you approach your relationship even from that perspective, that man, we're building something here, and it's cool and it's fun, and yeah, let's invest in do the work because it's this cool thing we're building. That's different than, hey, I got to work on my marriage.
Right.
Nobody does that with their hobby. Yeah,
Yeah.
I got to go work on my golf game.
Right.
But we do it. We go work on our golf game. Don't be so agenda focused that you have no fun together.
Focus on your family life at the expense of the romance. So don't, I forgot that word.
Important word here.
Don't focus on your family life at the expense of the romance.
Right.
So, do you ever get so caught up in your kids that your husband or your wife takes a back seat? You know, you hear of this most often with newborn babies. You're all about the baby, especially your first one, because everything's new and you want to do it perfectly. But oftentimes that baby's really tied to the mama for obvious reasons, attached to the mama. And so dad feels left out.
Yeah.
And over time, as your kids grow, as your family grows, again, all of the schedule, the agenda, all those kinds of things, you can be totally so into your kids that you leave out your spouse.
Yeah.
You leave out the romantic relationship between the husband and wife. And again, we're not saying don't take care of your kids, don't love your kids, don't make a great life for your kids and your family. Family life is important. Doing things all together is important, but not at the expense, not to the exclusion of the romantic relationship between husband and wife.
Because what we know is at some point he's going off to school or whatever, they're moving out. This is staying forever. And in that, we need to have a relationship that if everything was invested there, now all of a sudden they're gone. And you hear this all the time. When the kids left, the marriage fell apart.
Right.
That they were staying together to invest in this, and that was the connection. This wasn't the connection, that was the connection.
Yeah.
And when that's the connection and we don't build this, when that goes away or changes dynamic, what do we have left?
Right. You've
in the
kind of
midst
discovered
of-
that you're married to a stranger because you haven't taken time to nurture that relationship.
In the midst of building your family, in the midst of doing the things that you need to do, don't fail to focus on the romance and the relationship and the core connection that you have in your home.
Yeah.
What are the effects of a weak core? So if you don't strengthen your core, if you don't strengthen your physical core, your abs, your back, the stuff, it has a direct effect on your body. And people who've neglected the core of their physical body end up with back problems, end up with, there's effects of not paying attention and just letting that go.
Right.
In your relationship, a weak core, you get relationally weak. If you don't focus on it, if you don't give time to it, if you don't exercise it, you don't build the friendship, your relationship starts to weaken. And as it starts to weaken, that creates more problems.
Disconnectedness.
You start to disconnect.
Yep.
This was our life. This is how, in our marriage, when we stopped focusing on us and the friendship and the things that we used to do together, we started to drift apart. Our relationship started to weaken. We started to disconnect. And if you say we're disconnected, there's probably a weakness in your core. If you're disconnecting, you'll start to drift. You'll start to move apart. You'll have your thing, he'll have his thing. You'll start to disconnect.
Right.
When you start to disconnect, it leaves you very vulnerable. And you're susceptible to other influences and other people. This is the relationship. At work, this is disconnected, and you're still looking for connection.
Right.
Because I think we're all looking for that friendship. We're looking for that connectedness.
Right.
And when this breaks, when the connection here breaks, you start to find it in other places.
Right.
So we drifted. We ended up in other places. We found other relationships that were feeding our need for connectedness.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that is a slippery slope. We've slid that slope. It's a dangerous slope. Almost destroyed our relationship, almost destroyed our marriage. We are on a path to extraordinary because we refocused and said, no, we have got to work on our core. We've got to build our core and strengthen our core.
So, action step: intentionally spend time focusing on developing and strengthening your core, because it's vitally important.
Yeah. A strong relational core brings balance and stability to your marriage. Don't neglect your core. Coming up, step number 3 to a healthy and extraordinary marriage is to strengthen your relational cardio. See you in the next video.